And welcome into the Sports Guys presented by Appalachian Wireless. This is the Kelly Wells Show. And tonight we're going to have an action-packed 1-hour program. Of course, we're going to be talking to the head coach of the men's squad, Coach Kelly Wells, talking about the win over Bluefield College Rams at the Expo Center this past week. We want to preview the upcoming road trip to Georgetown and St. Catherine. We're going to have the newest and the latest in the top 25 in the NAIA ratings, where will the Bears fall this week. And also we're going to talk to the women's coach, Coach Billy Watson, as his ball club is on a 2-game winning streak. Our women's segment tonight will be freshman guard out of Boonville, Kentucky, Peyton Wright. And we're going to have assistant basketball coach Matt Taylor, as Coach Kelly Wells told me before we came on today that all the players have ran out. So we're going to interview Coach Matt Taylor coming up here tonight.
No question. You'll have great interviews. Peyton and Matt will both be tremendous. And sometimes we get our players, sometimes we do managers, and it's good to have Coach Taylor on here and get to learn a little bit more about my staff, and you figure out why we've got a good program, and it's because of our good coaches.
Absolutely. Kelly, a win the other night at home against Bluefield College gets the number 19th win of the season, 19-3. Not the prettiest of wins, but a win's a win.
It really wasn't. We'd even talked after the game how disappointing some of the areas of our play were just deficient. We didn't shoot the ball well, and a lot of times when teams don't shoot it well, they don't do the other things of the game, and we certainly didn't. We didn't take bad shots. We just couldn't get anything to fall, and I think it kind of took away from our defense and rebounding, and just wasn't a game that we felt really good about. I mean, we had a 19-point lead in the second half, ended up winning by, I believe, 6, which is just not acceptable, to be frank with you. But the guys have responded. We've had a good week of practice. We've had to have some closed-door meetings and some talking, and really just to get us back to where we've been. I think we've got a very unselfish team, but there for a couple-game stretch, I thought we played pretty selfish. But we'll get out of that if we want to be successful.
Kelly, the season's like a marathon. About 3 weeks to a month ago, we were talking about, man, this team's looking better than the national championship squad in Kansas City. It's a long season. You're going to have your ups and your downs.
It really is. You know, we still feel like we haven't played our best basketball. Right. Even during the time we were playing super, we still had a lot of deficiencies in what we were trying to do. And each night we set out for certain goals and certain accomplishments, and we've never had a game where I left it and said, man, that was perfect. So we've got some room to grow. I thought this week's been good for us. We've still got the flu hitting, and we've got 3 kids that couldn't practice today. We've got to get through all of that. But you know, I think the future is bright. We got a tough close to our schedule. We're in a great position where we're ranked right now, but we have to take care of business. And we've always said it's us versus X team. It doesn't matter who that is. We've got to play our best, and if we do, we're going to be a hard team to beat.
Elisha Justice, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, you know, we were wondering, is he going to be able to finish out the season due to that knee injury? And it was a deep bone bruise, some cartilage deterioration as well. And you said one day he felt good, the other day he moved around like an 85, 90-year-old man. He's practiced well as of late, gave you some quality minutes off the bench, getting in double figures.
Yeah, it was really good. He was a bright spot in that Bluefield College game for sure. I think he had 10 points, and he had a perfect stat line, didn't have any turnovers. And, you know, there's nobody that roots harder for him than right. Everybody around here. But he just didn't feel good, you know, and now he's starting to feel better. He's getting everyday practice in, and it's making him a better player.
What does Elisha need to do besides stay healthy and be healthy to make a further impact on this program?
Well, that's his key. He's got to stay healthy. I mean, he's got all the pieces of the game. Mm-hmm. He can guard. He's fast. He can shoot it. He's a great leader. He's a great teammate. And you want more of that on your team. I mean, as much of that as you can have on your team, the better. And the good part is he's got a lot of teammates that are like that too.
And again, you know, a lot of people don't realize this young man probably has a lot of pressure on him. I mean, Class Act go from Shelby Valley, then plays a couple years at U of L. Then when he came back and the signing, I mean, just a lot of excitement around the program, and really not being 100% up until the last few games, but a lot of pressure that Elisha's had to deal with because the fans, they want him to succeed.
Yeah, no question. And the coaches want him to succeed, his teammates want him to do well. But, you know, and we probably underestimate how much pressure it is on the young man, you know, to be back home and to be somewhat of thought of as a superhero. And, you know, you can just tell the last probably 10 days that he's had the burden of the world's kind of come off his shoulders. He's really more relaxed. He's back to his old self, talking, communicating. And sometimes, you know, it takes some people a little bit longer to get in routine as it does others. And I think he's settling in for a great run down here towards the end of the stretch.
Terrence Santil, how effective dominant could he really be if he was playing 100%, really playing on one leg? Kelly, 12 points, 14 rebounds, 8 of them off the offensive glass the other night in that win.
Well, it takes some of his lateral movement away. The hardest part is matching up defensively with him, because normally if he's healthy, he can go out and guard 4 men or 5 men. He just doesn't have that same lateral quickness that he used to have. He doesn't jump like he used to, but he's adapted.
Yeah.
He's so much better now than he was 2 months ago, and he's going to continue to get better and stronger. And I think every game that he's played, he's actually improved, and that's a good sign.
Trevor Setti, now, 9 points away from becoming the 9-time all-time leading scorer in U Pike history. He's going to pass David Rowe sometime this week. Hopefully it's against Georgetown. But Setti had a pretty good game there tonight.
Yeah, offensively he did. He scored the ball well, and most of the time his points are going to come against the team's best defender. I mean, he's legitimately getting covered up by good players, and I'm proud of some of the accomplishments Trevor's had, and really looking for him to step up his leadership down the stretch, because he's been through this and he needs to mature and grow into that leadership role.
I tell you, Greg McGee came into this program at the right time. Had some players that left the program during the break, and it was really put us thin at the post. But Greg McGee, I mean, he's putting up nearly double numbers each and every night.
Yeah, ideally we'd signed Greg early. He was supposed to be here at the beginning of the school year, and just didn't work out for whatever reason. But man, he's been a great addition, and his energy level, his versatility has been just what the doctor ordered for us.
What does he bring to the table for this program?
Probably his versatility is his best thing. I mean, he can guard anybody on the floor 1 through 5. He gives us a post presence in there. He's very lanky, very long, very good rebounding. We anticipate him in the future being a double-double kind of guy, averaging 10 and 10. And when his minutes improve, I think he'll be able to do that once he figures out. I mean, we're still in kindergarten with him right now. We're trying to get him to 6th, 7th, 8th grade to try to understand what we're doing in our program. So he's taking baby steps, but he's getting better every night.
The Deuce there, not only 4 of 14 shooting, really struggled from the field, but he found a way to get to the foul line, 9 of 11, most of his points coming from the foul line.
Yeah, I've done a poor job in the last few games of getting Deuce involved enough. Obviously, he's a key for people's defense, and I've got to do a better job of getting him centered in the floor and get him away from ball screens as much, try to get him to be able to create some out of some continuity offense. And we'll do a better job of that. But he, late game situation, he's got to have his fingerprints on the ball, because he makes all his free throws. He's a good offensive player and a very heady kid. So I just got to do a better job getting him in the right spots.
What's been the thing that you guys have been working on since the Bluefield game?
Mostly defense and rebounding has been our biggest thing. Competing every single play has been big for us. We've also added a new defense that we're going to try to throw out a little bit on Thursday and Saturday and see if it doesn't help us a little bit.
During the course of the season, this year's been man-to-man, in-your-face defense. Last year, you had the personnel, you had to go to zone. I guess do you come up when you bring out the new defense coming up on Thursday and Saturday, do you work on this through the season, or just bam, just all of a sudden put it in place?
No, it's always stuff that you kind of inch into. But there's times a lot of teams, especially bigger teams, are really trying to expose us playing 3 small guards. And we've got a little counter to that when people start doing our 3-guard post-ups, and handling ball screens a little bit different than we had early in the preseason and even as of over the break. So we've got a few wrinkles up our sleeve for some of our friends here.
Good coaches, good teams, they always adjust over the course of the season. When did you decide in the back of your mind, say, hey, we might need to adjust things up on the defensive side?
Well, I'm not saying we're adjusting, we're just adding
right.
one. I mean, we're still going to be in your face, full court man-to-man, half-court man, but we've got some things that we want to show that just some adaptations at certain times in the games that I think will give people some problems.
All right, coming up next on the Kelly Wells Show, we're going to have highlights of the 74-66 victory at home at the Expo Center against the Rams of Bluefield College. You are listening and watching to the Kelly Wells Show. It is presented by Appalachian Wireless.
Adventures waiting. I'm heading out to see the rest of the world.
And welcome back into the Kelly Wells Show. It is presented by Appalachian Wireless. And, Coach, at least I did get the name of the show right on this second time. I'm always used to the sports guys.
We're all sports guys
on
deep
Mondays.
down anyway. No big deal.
Absolutely. We're going to have a look at the highlights right now. Eric's going to cue them up right now. And Kelly, I tell you, a lot of dunking, a lot of steals, and we'll let you roll with it.
Yeah, this is our Bluefield College highlights, and we did some good stuff, as you'll see here. We got a lot of deficiencies, but we didn't put those on the highlights. We'll let you see the good stuff. We went over the bad stuff with the guys, but here you can see good offensive rebound put back by Terrence. Very active. I mean, he was very, very active in this Bluefield College game. Then the other end down here, P.J. Jenkins makes a nice three with an assist from Elijah Justice. We do a good ball screen action, kick to the corner, great shot from P.J. Jenkins in the corner, which he's very capable of doing. Here's a deuce in our 55 defense. We're up hard, great steal for us. Gets right to the rack, doesn't even hesitate, and gets a nice layup to get in there. Here's a great assist by Josh Whitaker. Bluefield's trying to play a little zone, and Terrence gets him stuck on the top side and then dunks on 2 or 3 of their guys. Here's another assist from Elijah, kicking ahead to Deuce. We get a land one out of this for free throw. We've got to do more of that. That's when we're at our best, creating offense from our defense, and that was a great, great play for us. Here's a Seti steal and Seti coast to coast. Great job in the post of taking away the post entry. Coast to coast, gets an offensive board. Did the Charles Barkley there, threw it up, went and got it, and put it back in. Here's another layup, one of our set plays against zone. Trevor did a great job catching it in the high post and ripping and getting to the rim for a finish. Here's Elijah, really picked us up. You'll see he's a lot more confident in shooting. People backed off of him, so he just pulls up, shoots a nice three, and he's capable of doing that more. We've just got to get him doing it more often, but that was a great shot. Here's a steal and a layup here by Elijah as well. Steal, get to the rim. Then we get right back into our pressure. Here's another steal in the post. Trevor did a good job of getting out, running the fast break. Kicks ahead to Deuce with a layup. That's when we're at our best. That's when we're playing basketball. We get a little halftime score here. We're up 11. I didn't feel like we played very well, but still up 11 heading into the second half with a little bit of momentum going. Here's a nice start. This is steal by Seti. Gets out. Greg McGee just runs the floor tremendous. Gets us off to a great, great start. Great dunk. And let you see us twice. Did a great job, and that's what Greg can bring to the table. He's very, very fast. Here's a three by Chris Johnson, which he needs to do more of as well. When people help off of him and slough off, he's got to knock that three down like he did. And here's a made jumper by Seti with a great little baseline runner. He's very creative in his scoring, that's for sure. Here's another big dunk by Big T. You can tell he's just a little more agile than he was early in the year. He's done a lot better. Here's an offensive put back here by Big T again. That's just a great catch off a rebound. And here's Josh Whitaker getting the reward of assist off of Elijah and getting to the rim, making a great finish. Here's another made three by Elijah, which we did a great job going inside out versus zone, hitting the high post to the wing.
Nice touch pass.
It was tremendous pass. And Trevor's got that ability. He's a tremendous passer. Here's another assist, now return the favor from Elijah to Trevor. And he gets the three at the top of the key there. Here's another assist by Trevor. Great job with a great new set we put in during this week. Terrence got him a great basket out of it. And then here's another steal. Look how Deuce is handling the ball. I mean, he's just all over it. Gets down, gets the layup here, puts her in. And led to a good victory by the Bears. Wasn't ideal, wasn't beautiful, but it was a win, and we're not going to complain about wins.
A win's a win. Coming up a little bit later on in the program, the latest rankings and the top 25 in the NAIA is going to be released. Rankings mean everything. How many Mid-South Conference teams do you expect to have a chance to crack top 25 this week?
I think we'll have probably 5 teams in the top 30 for sure. Top 25, maybe not as many, but we'll have 2 teams probably on the edge ready to slide in that top 25. But our league just, if we didn't beat up on each other within our league so bad, it would help us. But some of the other leagues get a little bit more credit for what they do than we do sometimes. But nonetheless, we'll have at least 3 in the top 20 for sure, I think.
Talk about the respect of the Mid-South Conference since we won a national championship a couple of years ago. You know, we got the large berth. You know, up to that point, Mid-South Conference really hasn't gotten a lot of respect nationwide.
Well, I can't speak for how it's been in a lot of years, but I know since I've been around, like last year we got 4 teams in the national tournament.
Yeah.
That hadn't happened before since I've been here. So I think the respect is getting better there. Our teams are just good. I mean, they're good. Very seldom do any of our teams lose out of league games. Very seldom at all. Now we'll have 19-3, 18-5 records, and you'll lose 5 games within the conference because our league is very good, very competitive, and it's hard to win on the road. All those things, but I think nationwide we're getting a lot more credibility than we used to.
Newest rankings coming up in just a few moments. We'll save it for the last segment of the Kelly Wells Show. But I did a little bit of research. I think the number 3 ranked team, Lewis and Clark, they lost the game, so going to have to know if that's going to impact us. I say the big winner in the rankings this week be Westminster, the 19th ranked team, which knocked them off.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of flux in the schedule. A lot of people lost. There are a few teams that didn't lose. Some teams had 1-game weeks. We're one of those. Sometimes that doesn't help you if you have a 1-game week. But it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Columbia is undefeated. They're going to still stay at number 1. Lee didn't lose. They're going to stay at number 2. And we'll see how it plays out from there.
All right, when we come back on the Kelly Wells Show, we're going to have the head coach of the women's team, Coach Billy Watson, as his team is currently running a 2-game win streak. You're listening and watching to the Kelly Wells Show. It is presented by Appalachian Wireless. And welcome back into the Kelly Wells Show. It is presented by Appalachian Wireless. And right now with us we have the head coach and our very good friend of the women's team, and Coach Billy Watson. And Billy, congratulations and back-to-back victories. One of them was the first one of the week was a conference victory over Bluefield College, 87-80.
Well, Joe, I appreciate it. Anytime you can get a win, especially late in the year, it's very gratifying. But our kids, you know, we went through a stretch where we had trouble getting wins. I mean, we compete, and then we'd have a stretch where we wouldn't score the basketball, but our kids never quit, and we were fortunate enough we got a win against Bluefield, who beat us soundly down at their place on January 5th. So anytime you get a win, it's going to be good.
What do you think the difference was second time around?
Well, 2 things. We had Bill Jackson and Kalisha Johnson back. They didn't play in the first game, and that limited us offensively, limited us on the defensive glass, and they're a team that doesn't really run a lot of offensive sets in the half court. They shoot it and they go get it. They miss it again, they shoot it and go get it. And you know they really hurt us down at Bluefield off the offensive glass, and we did a much better job this time containing them a little bit. You know, we give up 17 offensive rebounds, which is still too many.
Right.
But we said that was our number on the board before we took the floor. If we had 17 or less, then we were going to win the game. And you know, we got a nice lead, and we extended that lead, and we were able to continue to score. And we've had stretches where we've had 3-4 minutes where we haven't put points on the board. And the last week and a half, we haven't had that.
Balanced scoring, 4 in double figures. Kalisha Johnson leading you with 28.
Well, you know, she can score, and right now she's in a zone where she's shooting the ball well from the 3, which makes her even tougher to defend. She's a slasher. She likes to get the ball to the basket. She can make free throws. She's hard to guard, and you know, when teams have to adjust to her, that opens up other things for other people. And we've done a nice job really the last 3 weeks of executing our half court offense. Our high-low stuff, mid-range stuff, our on-ball screen, balls getting side to side better than what it was earlier this semester. So you know, we're coming together a little bit better than what we were earlier, and hopefully that can continue.
Broke and Conley had a couple of good games. A lot of people don't realize. I mean, last year she was a double-digit scorer and rebounder. torn meniscus she's playing on. She's going to have to have surgery in the off season, but she's come around scoring the last couple of games.
She is. She's really gutting it out, and she's sort of like Terrence with the men. We set her out of some drills. We set her out of some practice stuff. We limit her a little bit from a practice standpoint because of that. And you can tell when her knee locks up, she starts hobbling a little bit. We try to get her out, but honestly, she's really gutted out. She's played probably 36, 37, 38 minutes the last 3 games we've played. She knows how to play the game, and I just wish people could see her at 100%.
The bench for you, the last couple of games, I mean, I think combined 57, 60 points.
Well, we started a core group for most of the year, but at the same time, we feel like we have 8, 9 people that could probably start for a basketball team. And Peyton Wright's come off the bench the last couple of games for us. Kristen Haney's been very, very good all year.
Yeah.
The last couple of games, she's really shot the ball well. So hopefully that will continue. Kayla Day off the bench has been very, very good for us. So, we have a lot of parts that can play different parts or different positions in our offense and defense. We've gone more to a zone the last 2 or 3 weeks because we're very, very active perimeter people, and sometimes that was to our benefit in playing our half-court man. We get out of position sometimes. But we've been very active defensively in our 2-3 zone and our 3-2 zone. So we're going to stay with that. And like I said, if we rebound defensively, we're okay.
I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm wrong quite a bit. But from last year's ball club returning, I think Ann Clee's your most improved player.
Ann has been tremendous the last 7 weeks, 7 days to 10 days. She does anything you ask her to do. She's similar to Peyton. Peyton's a perimeter player, and I'll let you talk with her about that here in a few minutes. But Ann's more of a 3-4 kind of girl for us. Right now, she's playing the 5. She played the 5 some in high school, but she's going up against 6'2", 6'3", more athletic than she is. The last 2 games, I think, Joe, she's had 5 and 4 steals, 9 steals in 2 games. And she's made some jump shots. She's forced some post people to come out and guard her a little bit on the perimeter. So she's a very smart basketball player, knows what we want to do when we want to do it. So she's playing very, very well right now.
Again, balanced scoring in a game at the old gym, at the U-Pike gym, as your team defeated a team out of Indiana in a non-conference game, Indiana University Southeast. Talk about, first of all, coaching and playing again in the old gym.
Well, obviously, it's a little different. We're at the Expo so much now, but brings back a lot of memories, a lot of good times from that gym. And we beat a solid Indiana Southeast team. They're middle of the pack in their conference right now, but they've made the national tournament 5 of the last 6 years. The last 4 years combined, they've won like 98 games off the top of my head, somewhere around there. And Coach Ferris does a great job. And they had 2 really good perimeter players that we handled for the most part. We had 16 turnovers for the game. Unfortunately, we had 4 in the first 2 minutes of the second half, and 4 in the last 2 minutes of the second half to cut they cut the deficit a little bit. I think we were up 18 or 19 at one point and ended up winning by I think it was final 74-66. You said 8. So we're happy with the win. Now we move on. We got Georgetown and St. Catherine on the road, and Georgetown's a tough place to play. St. Catherine's a tough place to play. There are no easy places in our league. So we'll practice here tonight about 8 o'clock and get ready for Georgetown.
At the worst, Billy, and talking to you earlier today, the 8 spot, that's what you're looking for. You're at number 10 right now. The top 8 makes it to Frankfort in the Mid-South Conference tournament. So best case this week, you need at least split.
Well, we've got to have some help.
Yeah.
We still have Wise ahead of us, who we beat here at our place. So if we can get Wise the last game of the year, we would have a tiebreaker over them. We need some help with quite honestly, Bluefield. We need to move ahead of Bluefield because they hold tiebreakers over us. We split with them, but they beat teams that are above us. So we have to have some help, and we're going to some places that we feel like we can win. Feel like we can compete and put ourselves in positions to win with about 5 minutes to go.
Billy, 238 career wins. You're the all-time winningest coach on both the women and men's level here at U-Pike. Last week you notified your team, I think after the win on Thursday, that you're going to be stepping down after the conclusion of this season. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we didn't go into it lightly. The thought process, my family and I, a lot of good friends, a lot of good memories, like we said earlier. Not just players and games and seasons, but people on the hill. We just felt like it was a time to maybe make a move, to do something different. I'm not going to rule out ever coaching again
Right.
at the collegiate level or maybe the high school level. But if it doesn't work out, I've had a good run, and hopefully we'll find something here fairly quickly and move on.
National Coach of the Year, multiple Mid-South Conference and KIAC Coaches of the Year, and 4+ 20-win seasons, and the only 2 national tournament appearances that the school's ever been in. So you're leaving a pretty good legacy.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe. But like I said, a lot of people have gotten in contact with me the last 3, 4, 5 days, former players, and it's amazing that they remember some things from a season, from a game, from a practice, but they remember the times they spent together, and that means a lot to me.
Absolutely. And Billy, I tell you, I've met a lot of great people working through TV and the radio the last 10 years, and I tell you, it's proud for me to call you a friend.
Well, Joe, I appreciate it. Feelings mutual. Very
All
mutual.
right. When we return on the Kelly Wells Show, we're going to have freshman guard out of Boonville, Kentucky, Peyton Wright. And Peyton, I tell you, she lacks no confidence on the floor, as when Billy needs for someone to take over a game, well, Peyton, she does not shy away from a shot. We'll be back with more of the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
And welcome back into the Kelly Wells Show. It is presented by Appalachian Wireless. We're going to be talking to the assistant coach of the men's, Coach Matt Taylor, and then we'll bring back Coach Kelly Wells as he will release the rankings in the last segment, and also talk about the Georgetown and St. Catherine games coming up on the road. Right now we're talking to a member of the women's team, freshman Peyton Wright from Boonville, Kentucky. And Peyton is a very, very versatile player, playing a guard and the forward position. And Peyton, first of all, congratulations on the season so far. Welcome into the Kelly Wells Show.
Thank you.
Let's just talk about Boonville. Exactly how far is that from Pikeville, and what high school did you graduate from?
Well, it's about 2 hours from Pikeville, and I graduated from Owsley County High. I mean, it's a really small school.
What's been the difference so far between playing on the high school level and collegiate level?
Well, and on the high school level, I mean, it was just me, basically, on the team. I didn't really have any help, but, like, coming up through here, I mean, I've had a lot of help, and it's easier.
In high school, you carried the show, yet you scored most of the points. On the collegiate level, all the burdens are not on you. You have a lot of teammates and a lot of players that contribute. So really, the pressure's kind of off of you on the collegiate level. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Why did you? I'm glad you did, but what made you decide to come to UPike?
I mean, I felt home when I come here to visit, and I just felt it would probably be the best decision. Come help out.
Now, you are a student athlete, and of course, the academics come first, and hopefully you have a really successful career after you graduate from here. What are you majoring in right now?
Well, I'm going to major in sports management.
Why that particular area?
I mean, it's something I want to do. I don't.
From the high school to the college level, you're 2 hours away from home. You have to make an adjustment. This is your second semester away from home. Just talk about making that type of adjustment.
I mean, it's not real bad. My family comes to see me very often, so I don't really.
2 hours is not that bad.
No.
So the family gets to see you, and you don't get the homesickness, and also talking to a lot of players throughout the years that it's like family up on the hill.
Yeah. I feel right at home here, so.
What do you like about Pikeville? Small town.
Yeah, it's small. I feel, I don't know, I just feel homey, like I'm home. And
Let's talk about your play on the floor. I'm being impressed with you this year because as a freshman, freshmen really don't have the tendency of having the confidence of taking shots. Or when the game is on the line, like the UVA Wise game, it seemed like you scored just about every one of our points in that double overtime win here at home. But when the game is at crunch time, you want the ball in your hands. You're looking to drive it down the lane and just get to the foul line, score wherever you have to take. Just what goes through your mind?
I mean, nothing really. I just feel like I can help win, so I'm gonna just do what I can do.
Now, I've never been this way. I've never played on the high school level. So, but what's it like when you were in the zone, like at UVA Wise game, and you was taking them to school? I mean, they couldn't stop you. I mean, if I had a fantasy league basketball team, I mean, I would have put you on there, the number one pick. What's going through your mind when you're in the zone out there on the court?
Well, I mean, nothing really. I just go out there.
Just box it all out.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a long season for the women. You guys have now pulled off a couple quality wins, especially one off a very good conference opponent. I guess it really gave you and your teammates a lot of confidence right now, maybe running in hopefully the conference tournament. Talk a little bit about that success.
Well, I mean, hopefully we get to. I mean, I would really like to go to the tournament, but we need to just stay on this winning streak. And
you know, you've went from you interchanging out. One thing I like about you and your teammates, unselfish. It's not a selfish team. You go sometimes you start, and then in some games you come off the bench. Just talk about playing dual roles, starting and coming off the bench.
I mean, there's not really a big difference. I mean, I like starting, but
Right.
sometimes you just gotta understand that other people can do more than you can. So
It's all about the team.
yeah.
What's it been like for you to play for Coach Watson this year?
I mean, it's great. I mean, he's made me a better player, and I thank him for that because I never knew that I would actually come this good.
How have you improved in your game in your first year on a collegiate level from the high school level so far?
Well, I mean, I really didn't do much posting up, and I didn't crash the boards in high school. So, I mean, and he's taught me how to do that, and I've been able to do it, and that's what's helped me out.
And I guess on the high school level, when you're the main person, that you don't play a lot of defense. I guess you've had to work on your defensive game here on the collegiate level.
Yep.
What's it been like? We always talk about the Mid-South Conference. I guess when Coach Watson was recruiting you, he'd say, the Mid-South Conference, if you come to UPike, you're going to be playing in the best conferences. It's brutal each and every night, night in, night out. How tough is it to play in the Mid-South Conference?
I mean, it's pretty tough. I mean, it's you got bigger. I mean, I don't really think I've ever went up against any bigger players than me, but since I've been here, I have, and it's tougher. They're a lot tougher. And
plus, on a high school level, when you travel on the road, it might be a rare occasion that you stay all night, but it seemed like, just talk about going on the road maybe for a couple of nights, playing a couple of games, and then still got to keep up your studies. I guess that's have to be a little bit of an adjustment for you as well.
oh yeah, it is. I mean, it's hard to miss class but also keep your head in the game all
Absolutely.
at the same time.
Peyton Wright, freshman guard / forward for Billy Watson's ball club, and Peyton, the best of luck the rest of the season, and go get us a couple wins this week.
Okay.
All right, Peyton Wright, freshman from Boonville, Kentucky, one of the players for Billy Watson's ball club. When we return on the Kelly Will Show, assistant men's basketball coach Matt Taylor. I've heard him in the background for the last 42 and a half minutes. Well, guess what? You're going to get to listen to him talk in just a moment. It's the Kelly Will Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.
Hi, I'm Elisha Justice, a transfer student here at the University of Pikeville. I will be a junior next year, and I'm majoring in business administration. I grew up right in Dorton, went to high school at Shelby Valley, and I'm a really big family person. Looking forward to be back home and, be around all my family and all my friends and to play basketball here at the University of Pikeville. I'm Elisha Justice. Join me at the University of Pikeville.
And welcome back into the Kelly Wells Show. It is presented by Appalachian Wireless. We'll have Coach Kelly Wells coming up in our final segment as we'll talk about the latest ratings in the top 25. Where will the Bears fall this week, and also talk about this week's upcoming games at Georgetown and St. Catherine. Talking to the assistant coach right now, one of them, Matt Taylor, a good friend of ours. And Matt, welcome on to the show for the first time this year.
Yes, sir. It's been a blessing.
All right, Matt. Just you come from St. Catherine.
Yes, sir.
You've coached at Union.
Yes, sir.
And you originally coached here at Pike. Well, now
Yes,
you're
sir.
back. Just talk about that.
It's been a blessing to come back. I actually had a couple jobs this summer that were farther away from home, away from Letcher County, where I'm originally from, and actually it's just a blessing to be truthful. Coach Wells had called one day, and Coach Rector had left, and when he offered, I was all about coming back home, especially to Pike, wanting to work for Coach Wells and the staff here.
Again, you are an Alice Lloyd alum, so I guess it meant a lot to you, like you said, family, being around your similar surroundings, and just not for you, Pike, having the marquee name and being on the national level, but close to home.
Exactly. It's been fun to be home. I'm closer to my mother, which is one of the main deciding factors for me coming here, as opposed to taking a couple of the jobs that I had coming around.
Let's talk about some of your responsibilities.
We do a whole lot. Me and Coach Compton do a ton there. Film, scouting. We split those up throughout the year. On-court duties. Anything that Coach Wells needs, especially as much as we can be there for him. That's what we're supposed to do.
How long? Okay, these two games coming up, Georgetown and St. Catherine. How many hours of time getting the scouting report done?
Well, I started on St. Catherine probably last Friday, and I spend usually most of the day on it. I watched 4 games today on them, 2 games yesterday. Breaking down game film, doing our scout. We do it individually each game, talking to Coach with what he wants to do, defensively and offensively. So we spend probably a good solid 24 at the end of the day, preparing for them.
We'll ask you a couple questions here, okay? First of all, what do you bring to the table into this program? And second, what's it like to coach under Coach Kelly Wells?
It's the first thing I think I bring is recruiting. I was very successful at St. Catherine down there recruiting. When I was at Union College, I was very successful there at the time that I was there. I've always been on 20-plus win teams, 20-plus win seasons while I've been coaching, and I got blessed to be here with Coach Wells as well and doing the same thing. And as far as being able to come and work for Coach Wells, I originally started out, he gave me my first shot actually in college, coaching here a long time ago, and being able to be around somebody that's not only your boss but also your friend and to have fun on a daily basis is a blessing in itself.
Let's talk about recruiting. Of course, you want to get the best of the best close to home, but how do you get tips on? How do you get tips on players outside our region?
Most of the time, I've been very successful with knowing people and knowing contacts. It's a lot based on that. Like with Jamar, when we were recruiting Jamar, I knew Jamar through a mutual friend. And long story short, we can recruit them all we want to, but at the end of the day, Coach Wells is who sells them on what they're going to be a part of, because he's the boss at the end of it. And without Coach Wells, we wouldn't be able to get, Jamar wouldn't have been here. I recruited Jamar for almost probably a year, close to a year at St. Catherine. Had him down on a visit, thought we were going to get him. Turns out he ended up going to Mountain State when they shook loose there. I was able to talk to him again and just stayed in contact with him the whole time. But truthfully, what sold Jamar was Coach Wells. Me and Coach went up there 2 or 3 different times to Mountain State when he was playing in the summer league, and went out to dinner with him and did those sort of things, and that relationship's what sold it.
When a player goes out due to injury, it's the next man up. When
Absolutely.
Coach Wells went out, when we lost him for a few games due to illness, it's the next man up on the coaching staff. Just talk about that experience with you and Ty Compton.
Me and Coach Compton, we sat down, and there was a lot. I know I probably drove Coach Wells crazy. I was texting him the whole time he was in the hospital. Especially, I remember when we were at Life, I was texting him, and I know he was supposed to be talking. But It was a great thing. Me and Coach Thompson were able to keep the ship afloat, and that's what our job was to do. Through talking to Dr. Overton and Dr. Hurley, that's kind of how it went. We're supposed to keep the ship afloat, and thank God we did.
Matt, you guys done a great job this year. Thanks
Thank you.
a lot.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's Matt Taylor, assistant coach and of the men's team. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to bring back Papa Bear himself back in. We're going to talk about the top 25 and talk about this week's matchups on the road at Georgetown and St. Catherine. It is the Kelly Wells Show presented by Appalachian Wireless.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah.
And welcome back into the Kelly Wells Show. It is presented by Appalachian Wireless. Our sports director, Andrew Joyce, will be back in with you next week. And this is our final segment. And the ugly filters on the cameras won't have to be in when Andrew's back in the house next week.
You've done a great job. We're thrilled to have you with us.
Appreciate that, and this is my one time a year able to do this, and it's an hour, action-packed hour. It flies by when you're having fun.
Yes, it does.
Let's talk about the latest ratings. You have them at the top 25.
Yeah, it's been a little bit interesting. We're thankful that we stood where we were. We're at number 7, which is probably where we deserve to be at the current time. We just had a one-game week with a decent win over Bluefield, so staying at that spot's okay. Lindsey Wilson came in at number 3, actually went up a spot. They're playing good basketball. I mean, they're playing really good basketball. Georgetown has now moved into the poll for the first time this season at number 22. They were receiving votes last week, and they've won, I think, 8 straight, so they're playing extremely well. Just so happens that's our next game. We get to go while they're hot as they can be at their place. And Shawnee State receiving some votes, as well as University of Cumberland receiving votes. If you remember correctly, Cumberland was at one time number 1 in the country.
Yes.
So they've dropped off quite a bit. But, everybody's schedule down the stretch is tough. So we've got much anticipation to see how we finish up.
At the best, we want to sweep them this week. Georgetown and St. Catherine at the worst. We want to go 1-1. Georgetown coming up on Thursday, our old nemesis. They got us by 180-77. We need to go out and revenge that loss. What do you remember about that last game? What was the difference in that contest?
We didn't play well. I think that was the first time we didn't really play with confidence as a team, and I thought we got a little bit selfish in that game and still had opportunities to win down the stretch if we just make any free throw. We missed 2 front ends of the bonus at the end of the game, didn't guard very well, just made some really uncharacteristic mistakes that actually have crippled us in a lot of ways. We haven't played great basketball since then. With Cumberland's Tennessee, we played really well, but we just started second-guessing ourselves a little bit after that game because Georgetown was not playing great basketball. That's the best they'd played that night in the first game that they'd had the full roster together for guys that were ineligible or whatever. But Chris Briggs does a great job with his team, and they'll be great competition, and they'll obviously be there in the end.
Besides having a full roster, Georgetown got off to a slow start according to Georgetown standards. Now they've won, like you said, 8 in a row. What have they done different?
Well, the biggest thing is they've got their better players on the floor. I think they had some kids that were injured or ineligible, learning. They had a couple new guys. Chris is just in his second year there, so it's trying to figure out everybody a little bit. But they do a great job. Tradition is there. They lost some early conference games that they don't typically lose, but they've done a great job of rallying around. They've got themselves back, very competitive, and they've got a better finishing schedule than most people do. So they'll be right there in the end for sure.
Very briefly, give us a little bit of lowdown on Georgetown. Who's their best players who to watch out for?
Well, Vic Moses is their best player. He's a 2-time All-American. He's very, very good. He was sick last week, didn't get a play against Cumberland's, and they beat Cumberland's by 21, so didn't really miss him a whole lot in that regard. But they're so deep. They've got 6, 7, 8 guys that are all very similar to the same. McWhorter on the inside could take Vic's spot. Kid from Maryland, Michael Parker's in, a great 6'8" wing. Jerry L. Clark is a point guard. Craig, is a point guard that's tremendous. Alan Thomas at a wing who shoots the ball great. I mean, they have a very good roster, and they're very physical and they're big, and that's kind of where the difference is between our two teams. We can't be as physical because we're not as big as they are. I mean, our 2 guards 5'11", their 2 guards 6'4". So we have to play our style of play, and one of the things we haven't done is we haven't lost when we've been in the 80s. and or above. So we've got to get that game in the 80s or above.
St. Catherine, a team that likes to play very, very physical. They're athletic, and they like to go for the highlight film. What do you remember about that last game, and give us a little bit of a scouting update on St. Catherine?
They are a very physical team. They gave us fits here. We ended up winning by 16 or 18. I can't remember exact score. But they're very, from 1 to 5 are as talented as anybody. Travis Wilkins, it may be one of the best rebounders, with the exception of the kid at Wise in our league. I mean, he's just got a great feel for the basketball. But then they always give us fits. I mean, they're just so strong and so big. This is a tough road trip for us because it's two teams that are just brutally physical, and it's on the road in two bad gyms. You have to overcome it. It's just going to be a tough road trip for us.
Long trip, Springfield trip's 4 hours away from Georgetown. You're still traveling another 2 hours, and like you said, it's just the facilities. We'll just leave it at that. But it's tough to play in those two gyms.
It really is, and that's home court advantage. More power to them. That's what they're looking for in that regard. They try their best, but they're limited in what they have. But at the same time, we've got to go in there and win.
It's going to be a huge week for us. Lindsay, I think, is a half game up on us, and I think we're 2 games ahead of Georgetown.
Yeah, it's important for us to win. I mean, we've got 7 games left, 2 of those at home, the rest on the road, and it's important for us to take care of business and win. We're in control of our own destiny, and we've got to take care of wins. The
month of February, I mentioned it in January, every game is important in the Mid-South Conference, but especially the month of February, like you said, 5 of 7 on the road.
Yep, they're going to be tough, but we're excited about that. We're going to take them one by one, and the only one we're worried about collectively is Georgetown College on Thursday.
Right. Kelly, best of luck, and I expect this to be 21-3 at the end of the week.
I expect that as well, so we'll get together again next week and review that.
All right, absolutely. We'd like to thank Kelly Wells again, assistant coach Matt Taylor, Billy Watson, the head coach of the women's team, and, of course, freshman sensation Peyton Wright. This has been the Kelly Wells Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.